"I'm leaving you," my husband announced mundanely, as if it were nothing. "She's much younger and prettier, and she even gave me a boy. Today we're going to exchange the apartment, and there's no need to get hysterical. Instead, look at yourself in the mirror, and then you'll understand why I'm leaving you." Lisa wanted to throw a tantrum, but struggled to stay conscious. The air left her lungs. Darkness crept up to her eyes. The door slammed shut during a 25-year marriage. It hadn't been flawless. Her husband had a difficult temper and often picked on her, but she believed he loved her. And his daughter, Stephanie. When Stephanie was born, he immediately asked, "When am I going to have a son?" This hurt her deeply, but she comforted Stephanie by saying, "Daddy loves you." While he openly expressed his desire for a son, Stephanie was loved, but he could openly express his desire for a son. Stephanie became upset, and her mother comforted her by saying, "Daddy loves you. Don't pay attention to what he says about us." Stephanie got married last month and was now renting an apartment with her husband. They had planned to take out a mortgage, but the options weren't right. Wrong house, wrong neighborhood. The price wasn't right. The builder was questionable. A month ago, she gave birth to a wonderful baby boy. Her husband's long-awaited son, Dustin, instead of congratulations, grumbled something like a woman's kingdom. Fortunately, Stephanie's husband didn't hear otherwise. Dustin could learn a lot about himself. Her son-in-law had a stubborn character and did not want to listen to her father-in-law's advice, which led to strained relations. But she immediately found common ground with her son-in-law. To think that her daughter gave birth almost simultaneously with her father's mistress was senseless. She tried to cry, but couldn't. Her eyes darkened again. She came to her senses when it was already dark outside the window. An unaccustomed silence filled the apartment, and it became a new reality. How had her husband essentially created a second family without her realizing it? They say women can sense everything. That's not true. She believed her husband when he started going on business trips more often, disappearing at work and saving his paycheck for a rainy day. The woman cried, and then going outside the fence and trampled her dignity, forgot about it. Then the phone rang, and she fell silent in fear. What if her husband changes his mind about leaving? "Mom, what happened?" The daughter looked at the woman, who suddenly aged 10 years. "Why did you leave the child?" asked Lisa, with difficulty pronouncing the words. "I called you, and for some reason I was scared." "Mom, stop worrying about it. Now is not the time for that," Gil exclaimed her daughter, having learned everything. Her lips trembled, her voice trembled, and she struggled to keep from saying bad words to her father. "I'm sorry, I realize that's impossible. Consult with Danny, and we'll come tomorrow." The son-in-law looked pityingly at the once cheerful mother-in-law. "I advise you to go to a warm country," he said, turning on his computer. "Here is a site where people are looking for travel companions. Register, choose the one you like, and go. You need a change of scenery now. You're not committing to anything with the person you're traveling with. If the relationship doesn't work out, that's okay." At first, Lisa thought that the idea of going to a distant country with a stranger is stupid. But then she thought, well, I've known my husband for 25 years. So what? It turns out that I did not know him at all. He is too far away and wants to live in the same apartment. Lisa sighed. "I'm not in the mood for traveling right now. He wants to sell the apartment," her daughter said firmly. "I'll write a note here and he won't be able to live here. Please let him blame himself. I won't keep quiet, and I'll kick his young bitch out, and I'll tell Daddy what I think of him." "Mom, wake up. He's never appreciated you or me. I only realized that when I started living with a normal man." Lisa quickly found a traveling companion. He turned out to be a 50-year-old man with similar interests. She met him in a cafe and discussed all the details. They chose a hotel. Of course, their rooms were different. The tour operator arranged a last-minute trip to a nice hotel at a tasty price. You see, things are off to a very good start, Lisa. I'm very glad you're coming with me. Come on, Dutch. The woman offered to pay for her part of the tour. Lisa enjoyed the vacation very much, and it didn't even bother her that her husband was diligent about sending pictures of the new. He really does look like me. He bragged that he didn't forget to send pictures of his date. A young girl with a cute face. What did she see in her husband, who took excellent care of himself, but couldn't hide his 45 years? She couldn't understand. Yes, he was fit, but she was slim too. 15 years ago, her husband called one day and immediately started complaining. Where are you? Why did you change the lock? Open up immediately. Open up, or I'll call the police. I didn't take all my stuff. She had to initiate a video call, and he saw his ex-wife lying on the chaise lounge. Her husband couldn't believe his eyes. Have you completely lost your mind? The mental hospital is looking for you, sweetheart. Have a Coke? Peter held out a glass to her. Who's this guy? Who's that guy? The husband shrieked. You don't know him, explained the wife. We're on vacation together. It's so nice here. You found a man. That was quick. The husband didn't hide his displeasure. Wait, I did. Why do you care? Enjoy fatherhood, replied Lisa. By the way, I do not know your names, politely said Peter. You can just call him Cuckold, suggested Lisa in a good-natured tone. In the photos, both you and the child's mother have blue eyes, but the baby has brown eyes. This can only happen if the father has. Perhaps the girl forgot to mention that detail, Lisa explained. No, said the husband. It often happens if she has dated several men at the same time. She gets pregnant by the younger one because of their increased fertility. After returning from vacation, Lisa and Peter agreed to continue dating. They had a lot in common. Lisa went through her divorce from her husband easily. She was supported by Peter, as well as her daughter and son-in-law. There was nothing to divide, since the child was registered in the apartment. Lisa moved in with Piotr, and the apartment was occupied by her daughter's family. Her ex-husband began to live alone, renting an apartment. He decided not to return to his own apartment, as he realized that he would not be welcome there. Moreover, the family knew that he had been deceived by an enterprising girl who was not going to be faithful to him and kept him as a backup. He found this fact incredibly shameful, and not so much because he had left his wife. If you like the stories on our channel, give it a thumbs up. Be sure to subscribe to the channel and put a bell to be the first listeners of another new story. Good luck and come back. It will be interesting.